Hi, my name is Luma Fawaz. I'm the head of investment at Oasis 500. It's a great pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you, Arab Advisors, for this opportunity. I'd like to introduce my panelists. Mr. Basel, who was with us on the previous panel, head of the MasterCard Regional. Ms. Samar Banna, Chief Commercial Officer of Madfooatcom. Mr. Sultan Kashoura, Project and New Revenue Stream Manager at Zain, Jordan. And Mr. Mohammed Al-Baidas, Value Added Services and Mobile Financial Services Manager at Umnia. Our topic to do is consumer protection. So what's consumer protection? Why do we need to protect the consumers? I, from Oasis 500, work with startups. We encourage startups that have a B2C model to go to consumers and give them incentives to purchase their products and services. Products is an easier play because there's delivery and cash on delivery. When it comes to services, there are electronic payments available, but the consumers are reluctant to have their details shared with these service providers. So what can we do to give incentives to the consumer to be able to, for the startups and the businesses to be able to monetize from these services? What are the concerns? The concerns are data protection and privacy issues, misleading information by merchants, tracking and pricing, which means when the service provider can track your IP address and then price differently, and fraud, unfair terms, and whatnot. Globally, there are regulatory bodies who govern all these relationships. We're here today to understand how it is in the region and Jordan specifically. So I'm going to start with Mr. Basel to tell us more about that.
Thank you. So we see the role of government proliferating in the Middle East. We see in Dubai, a lot of people talk about Dubai. Why is it successful? Why are solutions taking hold? And in Jordan, we have the business payment council, and there is in Qatar, QPay, and in Egypt, the MCE. Why are these governments interfering in electronic payments and financial inclusion? Because simply, in most of the Middle East countries and emerging countries, the government is the biggest employer. People, after all, trust the government to provide solutions, and it really, from what we've seen, it cuts through a lot of the learning curve when a government mandates payments in its offices, licenses e-commerce payments for bill payments or taxes or fees online. It gives consumers a big boost in confidence of using these solutions. And we've seen some governments like in Jordan and UAE and others actually starting new platforms. Like we saw Madfooatcom, which was a Central Bank of Jordan initiative, and now Jomo Pay. Madfooatcom is a great conduit to financial inclusion, facilitating people's lives daily with secure and fast solutions. And even if they have to come in and actually put indicative prices to start the market, to start up the market, we don't see this as negative. We've seen the government of Dubai having great success more than 12 years ago with the e-commerce payments online, and then it has proliferated. We saw in Jordan the same thing with the e-government and Qatar and other countries.
Hello, good evening. Actually, we have in the morning went through what is Madfooatcom and what is Madfooatcom is doing as Fawaz. So we are happy now to know that the Jordanians are aware of the benefits of the online payment, and they are aware that they can save time and cost. They know that they can have a very convenient way to pay, and they know that they can have the flexibility 24/7. The problem is in the risk of doing the transactions online. So this is the challenge we are facing them at. So they are actually afraid to do the transaction online because they are seeking the security and the privacy and protecting their information and financial information as well. So one of the biggest downstreams that we are actually suffering is the authentication for the user online and also the security online. Once we will cover these two streams, I'm sure that all Jordanians will be confident that they will use the service online without having any. No, actually we have to change the mindset first, Lama, and to use the tools that we have. For example, at the credit card side, they have the 3D Secure, they have the full security systems that will enhance my payment through the credit card. And Mr. You can help me in this part about the.
Is it mandatory? No, this is the problem.
No, it's not mandatory.
How can we make this mandatory?
This is the problem.
It's preferably that the market regulates itself and agrees that this is a consumer need. We have a lot of young generations, a lot of businesses that need to transact with the world. It's a given, but it sometimes doesn't happen unless government with the private sector pushes the platform forward.
What?
Central bank and other, Ministry of Finance and others adopting electronic payment solutions, it really encourages people to use those products.
Well, the thing is, if you look at it, like the e-commerce business or the digital financial services is different from the standard banking services. And that's where the government should be trying to help and regulate, but not from the beginning. The thing is with this type of digitized services, it's rapidly changing. So you can't state and start with specific laws at the beginning, but as the service evolve and grow and changes in direction, you can still be tied into the previous laws or governaries that they put. So you need to be able to regulate as you progress. And I think that's the part where you have the umbrella of the central bank from one side and having, let's say, on the digital financial services, getting the TRC, getting also part of the discussion or the involvement to help regulating from the digitized kind of evolving services. If you can do the balance between those, I think you can get the trust built up in the subscribers.
Mohammed, is it the case? Is the TRC involved in any way?
They've started being involved. See, one of the things here in Jordan, and which is kind of we think it's a blessing, is that they don't start by forcing laws and regulations in advance without understanding the services and the needs, and even, let's say, the whole customer journey. They start looking at it. Once they get the full picture, they meet with you, and then we've had that actually in our cases. We've met and we sat through the whole customer journey. And from there, they start saying, this is the area under my jurisdiction. This is the area under the central bank jurisdiction. This is where it's, let's say, it's a gray area. We will watch, we'll let you launch, and we'll let you watch, and we'll let you offer the services. But once we get a complaint coming out, we will get involved immediately to protect the consumer. Because at the end of the day, you're looking at the end consumer. The bank is already governed and protected by all the local and international banking laws. The unbanked is the issue. The unbanked, where that 1 JD to him is equivalent, let's say, to the 100 JD for the banked. So you had to protect him. You have to look at him. But you can't also from the beginning ties his hand. He's just finally got the sense of being able to do something. He's been able to being served. And you, from the beginning, you ties him, it's going to be tough for him.
So how are businesses approaching the unbanked? It's through prepaid cards, right? Currently. What else can we do to first of all, penetrate the unbanked and protect the unbanked?
As a service now at Madfooatcom, you can approach the post office and you can pay there in cash on using the Fawaz system. Also, you can go to the bank itself and you can pay on the teller by cash. And you are depending on the operators on the mobile wallet for the unbanked.
Okay. Another thing that we need to mention, if our local banks and the central bank as a regulator does not really cope with the technology, what's going to happen is outside companies are going to come even to the Jordanian market with solutions. With the cloud now proliferating and with internet users coming in and Facebook is coming in with some payment solution. I'll give you one example. In China, you know how the heavily regulated the Chinese banking is. although it is developing. There is a application, non-banking application called WeChat. It has 650 million customers. This company now is taking business away from the traditional bankers because it's like an application on the mobile where you can link it to a prepaid card and you can do 90% of your banking transactions. So the government of China has seen this, and the banks are telling the central bank, can you regulate this or ban this company? Knowing that our society is connecting to the Amazons and iTunes and Facebooks, Jordan is one of the highest Facebook accounts in the Middle East, by the way. If the central bank and the business community and the merchants and the issuers do not come together and offer these solutions, guess what? Within 3 to 4 years, the millennials, the Generation Y, will start getting cards from Cyprus, from Russia, from the USA, over the internet, and the banks will not know what happened. And guess what? The central bank will not be able to stop this because it's not something operating in Jordan.
So you agree, it's a challenge. All the stakeholders need to come together. And what about can you tell us more about the mobile wallet and the services that it provides?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. First of all, thank you, Lama, and thanks for Arab Advisors for holding up this event. If we look at the consumer protection in the context of mobile wallet and assess the stakeholders' role, the different stakeholders from the regulatory part to the payment service providers to the MNO, we see that this is a responsibility that is going through the entire chain. For instance, the central bank, when they first started drafting and the instructions for the service, they looked at the consumer being the most important part of this entire formula, and because of that, they've put a lot of collaterals on the payment service providers to guarantee that if a payment service provider defaults at any point, the consumer's money will be there for them to go and reclaim. For us as MNOs and payment service providers, there are a lot of things that we have thought of way before launching our mobile money services, because we are looking at things from a customer-centric point of view, and we know that we don't want the consumer to be affected at any point in the chain. However, there are a lot of things that again is a responsibility of everyone. The regulator, us as a payment service provider, and even the consumer himself. I mean, the consumer, they need to have the proper literacy on mobile payments and all the electronic transactions. So, for instance, PIN sharing for someone who's trying to make a fraudulent transaction over a consumer, they need to be aware of these kind of things. Before going out and start, using the service, literacy in the field of electronic and mobile payments. And I'm not saying that they need to become PhD holders in that sense. No, it's just the basic things. Passwords, mobile handsets. They shouldn't be shared because it's not a.
But the current situation is not that.
It is not that, but we're doing, or we're at least setting the procedures and processes to be able to reach that point. Yes, we are able to, the central bank is able to mandate a lot of instructions on the consumer protection, and we are, as payment providers, need to abide by that. However, the compliancy costs and making sure that the distribution point is abiding by the rules, and which is on a national scale, it becomes very difficult. That's why it's something that needs to build up, but not over day.
I want to add, as you were asking about what we're doing for the unbanked compared to the bank, one of the things also as MNOs we're doing with the support of the central bank is we're starting to offer the same customer experience. For example, with the mobile payment, we're allowing the unbanked to connect to Fawaz with Madfooatcom. So whatever they've had as banked, whatever the bank clients have, now the unbanked is getting. In the past, where the bank clients were able to do online transactions and purchases from app stores, we've enabled for the unbanked the direct operator billing, which is a new financial
Which is
transaction.
very expensive.
It's actually because of the
service provider.
from a service provider, because of the taxation, not from a service fee. But we're building the customer experience. We're giving the unbanked the taste of what the bank gets, and we're helping them getting there. And even, like say, the direct billing is also regulated. So I think we're doing it in parallel. We're offering the services, and we're offering the regulation to protect it.